On February 21, 2022, Russian President Putin announced that he recognized the so-called independence of the so-called Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics. The territory of the quasi-states in the Russian decrees was declared in the borders of Ukrainian Donetsk and Luhansk regions. But 1 year of the full-scale war after, Russia has no success in taking over these regions. Despite the fact that the Russian constitution demands to deliver a message to the Federal Assembly annually, last year the ruler of the Kremlin ignored this duty. In 2023, he will make a report on February 21st, the Russian propaganda media reports. Apparently, the date was not chosen by chance because the Kremlin needs to fuel propaganda after a year of big war, Ukrainian intelligence says, and therefore a series of statements in the spirit of neo-imperialist narratives should be expected from Putin.
He will say that the operation is going according to plan, that Russia is not at war with Ukraine, but it is defending itself from NATO and the West. It will also be the forerunner for a new wave of mobilization. The Russians will be explained why they need to go to the slaughter. Andrei Usov, representative of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, on the air of the National Teleson.
On the domestic Russian agenda, Putin has nothing to brag about. In January, the budget of the aggressor country faced a record deficit. Therefore, in his speech, Putin will sell the unrecognized annexation of new territories from Ukraine. In the Kherson region, the right bank part of which, including the regional center, was already deoccupied by Ukrainian defenders, and the in Zaporizhia region, the center of which the Russians failed to capture.
Putin postponed his annual address to the Federal Assembly several times in 2022, likely in hopes of eventually using this speech to celebrate sweeping Russian victories in Ukraine, but was unable to do so due to the lack of such victories and amid heightened criticism of the Kremlin's management of the war. Russian military failures in Ukraine continue to deny Putin the ability to present military success to the Russian public, from the report of the American Institute for the Study of War.
Analysts do not expect global statements from Putin either. For the time being, the Kremlin is not expected to announce a new wave of mobilization as well as martial law on the territory of the Federation.
In the absence of military success, he will try to compensate with some political bravado. Well, that's how during his last meeting, when his army was kicked from Kherson, and at the solemn meeting, the Russian authorities accepted the Kherson region into the Russian Federation and introduced it into the constitution, something like that.
However, Putin should not hope for informational success, experts say. From February the 20th to the 22nd, US President Joe Biden will pay a working visit to Poland. The head of the White House will deliver a speech as well as hold talks with President Andrzej Duda, leaders of the Bucharest 9 countries and NATO partners. And also, he may meet with Volodymyr Zelensky and announce new deliveries of weapons to Ukraine. This event will easily override the informational effect that the Kremlin has planned.
Ukraine will not be left without support, and now this amount is important both politically and symbolically, to show Putin on the anniversary of a full-scale invasion that the support of the West will be more decisive with every step, and that no one is going to retreat one iota from public commitments and reduce the level of support for Ukraine.
The day after Putin's address to the Federal Assembly, that is on February the 22nd, the Federation Council and the State Duma will hold an unscheduled meeting. On the same day, a propaganda concert with the participation of Putin is planned near Moscow. They are already gathering a crowd for that. Each participant is promised 500 rubles. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Valeria Nekipelova, UATV News.